Yeah, I'm still shooting my Hudson H9. I love this gun. It was unveiled in the 2017 SHOT Show and it caught my attention immediately. I loved the way this gun looked and what people were saying about it. It has a grip frame similar to a 1911, has the same straight pull trigger, but it's a striker fired pistol. It's chambered in 9mm and has a double stack magazine. And your hand naturally gets really high up on the gun. So it has naturally a very low bore axis, but they went one step further and lowered the guide rod and recoil spring. So it'd be more in line with your hand. That's why the front of the frame looks so weird, is because the recoil spring is lowered. So when you shoot this gun, it feels like the gun comes straight backwards. Once you get used to it, you can keep the muzzle down very easily. Once you get used to it, you can keep this thing on target and shoot relatively fast. This gun has a lot going for it, but in 2019, Hudson announced bankruptcy and there was this big ordeal with people that sent their guns back for factory repairs. They weren't getting them back. I still don't know the outcome of that whole cluster. I feel bad for anybody who still doesn't know about their gun. This gun has quite a few issues. There was some small internal parts that were failing. Actually, I had one fail on this gun, and I'm going to get back to that in a little bit. I kind of wonder if them announcing a new model had a little bit to do with why the company went bankrupt, because they were announcing they were going to come out with an aluminum frame. So I'll show you this in a little bit, but the tray and the rails and the trigger assembly, that is the firearm. That's the serialized part. So you can actually buy an aluminum frame right now, actually, that you can throw that pack in. It's really kind of cool. They announced that they were going to come out with it, and I kind of wonder if people were waiting for Hudson to work out the bugs with some of their internal parts and come out with a new model, so they stopped buying the old one and cause problems. That's just speculation, but I kind of wonder if that's one of the reasons. But there was a whole bunch of internal parts that were failing, bad casting, and I was able to buy a whole bunch of parts from distributors that were trying to figure out what to do with their stock after Hudson went bankrupt, and I bought up a whole bunch of spare parts. That's one of the big reasons I'm still shooting this gun, that if I break another part, well, I just replace it. But there's going to be a point when if I break another part, I'm not going to be able to replace it anymore. So I'm still shooting this thing sparingly, but I'm still shooting it. Now I'm going to take this to the garage and I'm going to show you how to take that little tray out, and I'm going to show you the recoil spring and the fail point that I had with this gun. So here's my least favorite part, is right here. You can already see I had a couple scratches on it trying to get underneath this part. This is where your safety would go and it would flip up to engage. This is a part I would replace so that I would be able to do this a lot easier if I was going to switch between two different chassis, but I'm going to see if I can do it on camera. No guarantees. Gotta do is go underneath it like that and turn it. And once it's up all the way, you can pull it out like that. Here's your part. I forgot, you got to push down right here, and this piece will come right out. And you can see how these two pieces go together. Go like this, and then they turn. That's where the detent goes, right here. This goes through. So here's the next part. To take it out, you have to turn it just a little bit, and then you pry up on it. You have to be very careful not to scratch your gun, and then you pull up. And then when it gets to that point, you turn it downwards, pull out. This is a very tight fit, and I can't get it out. So what I have to do is get a round punch and pull up like that. And then it comes right out. And here is the part that I had fail on mine. So here is the part that I had fail, and I actually had, I believe, this side break off one of these ears. And it threads onto this guide rod, which is kind of a pain because you have to pull this down and engage it. There's actually a flat surface in here, you can see it right there, that you can lock onto to keep this depressed, and then you unthread this little back piece. So I had to do all that, and I got a new piece in, and it's actually staying in place. I put some blue Loctite on, but you can kind of see, if I'll focus, this is how it sits inside the gun. And you have to take this whole tray off the gun in order to get the recoil spring out, which I think is kind of a design flaw. But as you can see, this is the only serialized part. So the frame can be swapped out with an aluminum frame, and this is the only part of it that's actually the firearm. First jam. The trigger, I'm not a huge fan of. Even though everybody was really excited about it, the straight pull trigger, there's just so much slop in it. The trigger will move up and down, side to side. It's got this little safety on it, and when you grip it and pull it back, it feels really sloppy. I'm not a big fan of that. And it has around a 5-pound trigger, which is not a bad trigger. But I'm looking right at one of my 1911s that costed me $350, and it has a way better trigger pull. It's about 3 pounds. There's not a lot of play compared to this. It's a better trigger. So for the price point these things were going for, I was a little bit disappointed by that. Also, I don't like that if you squeeze the frame and the slide and frame move a little bit. That's a small part. And like I said, the part failing in this gun is a big issue. So I've always kind of wanted to see if I sent it to like Prasky Gunworks. I've already talked to him about this. Get those internal parts that were failing and mill them. make some new parts out of milled steel so they won't break. And then I thought it'd be kind of cool to port the slide. I'd like to see if you ported this gun, if it would be even more flat shooting or if it would try to push down a little bit. Because it does feel like there's a little bit of muzzle flip, but if I hold it right, there really isn't. It just feels like it comes straight backwards. I'm kind of curious how this gun would feel with porting. That's something I wanted to do, and replacing these sights. So that's another thing. It's been a long time since I've shot this gun, and I haven't watched my last review in a while. But I was shooting this thing really low, and I thought it was just my pull. I thought I was just pulling it because I'm not used to this gun. And I took my time. I started easing the trigger pull. I was, babying the trigger, honestly, making sure that I'm not jerking it. And it was going to the exact same place. Well, off camera, I had my buddy Keith shoot it, and his group was going to the exact same place as mine. So this gun shoots really low. This is my group for about 10 yards. These two were me, I will say that. There's my group at about 20 yards. So I had to bring up my sight to be able to hit the target. So I'd like to replace, I'm not a big fan of these sights. It used to have like an orange piece that went in the front sight that flew off. I would just replace these sights. If I was going to shoot this thing a lot, replace the sights, replace the cast parts, and maybe port the slide. I don't know, and the barrel. I kind of would like to see what it would do. But I don't know if it's really worth it, and it's kind of a collector's piece at this point. It comes in this really cool decorative box. It's probably one of my favorite things is putting it in this box. I just think it looks so cool in there like that. And I have it displayed like this, and it's kind of a collector's piece, honestly. I don't see anybody buying it. The patent, I really wish somebody would. Could you imagine if Smith & Wesson, for example, bought this patent and made their M&Ps like that? It would be so cool, They have the ability to make this gun right and work out the kinks. But sadly, I don't see any companies doing that, and I don't know if there's really much of a market. But I love this gun. It is one of my favorites, and I got it for half what they usually go for. I think they go for about $1,200 when they were coming out. I bought it for $6. Yeah, you can be jealous of me. That's why I bought it, because I saw it for $6 because people were trying to unload them when Hudson announced bankruptcy. Distributors wanted to get rid of them for a while, and I got one for $600. Yeah, for the win. I won. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is a fantastic gun and a cool design, but sadly it was a design that was prone to failure because of some cheap internal parts. Maybe someday we'll see something come out of this gun. Who knows? But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned. I got some really cool stuff coming up.